Hi, I'm Darren, and this is how I do
knew a love like this before. The kind of life that I cannot find on my own. I've seen the world, but I have never been so sure that I want your heart. God, I just wanna be where you are, where you are. I just wanna be where you are. I just wanna be where you are.
All right, we're gonna do a video on how to split the block long way, so a full split. But I just want to let you know that I brought this block out. It's been about 2 hours. I have this wrap that I made. You could just wrap it with a sheet or something. But the important thing is to put it on a piece of plywood, wood. You don't want to put it on concrete, or you don't want to put it on something that has a lot of holes in it, like your pallet, because those holes will cause there to be extra melting, and it'll be all uneven. So make sure that it's sealed completely all the way to the floor, because if there's any air like that, you'll have extra melting, uneven melting. So you want to have your covering in the tempering process, like about 2 hours, to be completely sealed. Okay. So here it is. And she's gray. You can kind of tell when it's all sweated out, which it is. So another thing is to set up your carving area. See, I have a kind of staged here. I got it about 1 foot off the ground. It makes it easier on your back to carve. So if you're taller, you might want to do it higher. But you see, I just put this block right onto this single pallet with the hand truck, and then I'm gonna just lay it down onto the higher pallet, and I'll show you how I do that. All right, so to handle the block, you want to use leverage. All right, so I got it up here. I'll tongue it here. I'll bring it to this point, balance it, and just let it leverage itself onto the pallet. Real easy. Okay, now I'm gonna line it up right on the edge of the pallet, nice and straight. That'll help give you a guide to make straight cut. All right, so we got it on top of the pallet, and it's straight with the edge. Now I'm gonna trim the bottom and both ends just enough to make it a straight cut on both ends. All right, the straighter you can make your cuts, the less work you'll do by trying to have to re-straighten it. So now I'm gonna stand it up. The full split of a block, I do this for about 90% of all my ice carving, so this is something that is very important for you to kind of learn if you're gonna do ice sculptures, kind of using my technique to do them. So this is really an important step to learn. Okay, now to lift this thing up, you gotta be careful. Always don't use your back. So I get right above my lift. All right, so if you look at my angle here, I'm right above this part of the block. I'm not over here trying to lift it. I'm getting right above it. Now it's just, I'm torquing it, and I'm just trying to get it to a balance point. So from this point, you see my body is right over it. You just bring it straight up, and here it is. You're up at a balance point. then hold your, oops, careful. Hold your leg. And there you go. Now if you look at it from the front, she's standing straight. You look at it from the side, she's standing straight. Then you know you cut straight. Always use towels to handle it. All right, so I set up my pallet like this intentionally. There's plywood, and I leave these two grooves intentionally so that you can. It'll help you when you're cutting your blocks. So here you go. I do this again. I'm going to straighten out this face and both sides. So I'm actually going to straighten out this whole block. So what I do is I line it up, and that's a guide here. So what I'm trying to do is trying to just make this straight. There's a little bow to it. So sometimes if you're doing a dolphin or something, that you may not need to. But if you're doing like a ice tray or a logo or something that needs to be straight, it's better to do it now, straighten it out. So here you go. I'm not taking off much, I'm just straightening it out. All right, now I'm setting up for the split, which I'll do this. Measuring it from the trim there, I go exactly 10 inches. There's a 10 inch right there, and 10 inch right here, and 10 inch on the bottom. As you see, the block's a little bit, freezes a little differently. So it's 10 inches there, it's a little thicker up here. So I'm gonna cut all this white and just end up right at the edge of the block here on the bottom. I'm gonna get my line, I'm gonna cut some guidelines. So up here you see my 2 marks of the 10 inches. So from up here, that's my top mark. Then I'll cut a straight line down here. Now you can check it so you got a 10 inch all the way down. Right on that edge, and if you look, that was a pretty good straight line. That's pretty good. So if I follow this line, I should have a pretty close 10 inch. Alright, and just clear out the snow like that. And then we'll spin it around and do the same thing on the other side, on this other edge. So, there you go, I line it up again. We're going to trim off this, straighten out. We'll make the 10 inch mark here, which is right here again on the white. Down to the bottom, it's all the way to just the edge of it. So I'll do a guideline again. Now we're going to check the, so it's pretty close. Yep. As long as you're within a 1/4 of an inch, you'll do okay. 1/2 inch, you're going to be off. Now that happens. Okay, just clean this off here. All right, a little bit off. Okay, so when you make these marks here, just like that, you see this little edge here. This cut was a little deeper than this one, so this is how you fix it. It's real easy. All right, you see, got some sediment in there, but I can get rid of that with the sculpture, the way I design it, or the way I carve the ice. I can get rid of that later. All right, so we clean our area. Keep your area clear because slipping on a little piece of ice like this is this is what's going to make you slide and slip. So make sure you don't have none of that. All right, so I'm gonna trim these edges now. These outer edges, and the whole block will be trimmed. Once again, I'll line it up to the edge. Line up that edge, my cutting edge, right along there, so that guides me. There you go. All right, so actually we squared off the whole block all the way around. So now I'm going to line it up down this gap, dead center if possible. So I'm going to make my split all the way down, and this gap between the pallet will be my guide. So once again, I will measure it off. Take a look, measure, it's 10 inches all the way down here. So I just mark a 5 there, mark a 5 here, mark a 5 here, down here, mark a 5, and here, 5 here. Okay, it's right there. Now if you're marked right in that center of that gap in the back here, so you're lined up. So you just gotta follow best you can, and we'll split this block. So coming up top to do my guide cut. Okay, and I'll do a line. Maybe if you're just starting, if this is the first time you're carving, you might want to do marks 5 inches to help make that straight line. But okay, here we go. Now we're going to cut it straight. Make sure your blade stays straight. All right, so this is the most challenging part of splitting your block. It's how your blade, here you go. As you're cutting, you only see the front part of your chainsaw. You don't see the tip of your chainsaw. Your tip of your chainsaw tends to drift either to the left or the right. So you're gonna have to learn how to make that cut straight, because the tip of your blade is gonna drift like if you look at here. You see it drifted over to the right side. You see the center gap here? The tip went over that way. So that's gonna be your biggest challenge, to make it straight all the way through. So let's take a look how I'll spin it around and cut it from the other side. So what I do is I line it up once again with that gap as my guide. So you see, here's my mark. I'm gonna make that in the center. Well, it's not too bad. And then I check on this side, and you see the cut is right in the center of the gap. So it's lined up. As long as I cut it straight, it should be a clean split. Here we go. We're gonna do my mark here. All right, now you just want to make your blade just reach the cut point. You don't want to overcut like this, because then you'll have too much if you look at it from this angle. You want your blade not to go all the way in, because your blade will end up drifting. So you just want to make your blade just about meet where the thing is split, like that. And if you got it right in the groove, it'll be real smooth. All right, I can tell it was pretty bad, but I'll show you how to fix it. Okay, that's clean. Now it'll still split. There you go. Here's your split, and this tells you how well you did. I didn't do too good. So you clean it off. You see that right there? My first cut was really off. So you're talking about a 1/4 of an inch right there. So that's bad. It's not terrible, but it's just what it is. Sometimes this is something you got to practice at, and then you get to a point where you'll have a nice clean split, like at this area of the block. It's pretty clean. But I'll show you how to clean this stuff up. You just angle it so you'll be able to get to it. From this angle, you'll straighten it out from this angle. Once you just come from here. So this is a full split, and this procedure, like I said, I'll do on almost 90% of the carvings that I do. It always has a split. It was a little off for this split, but sometimes I hit it right on the money, and sometimes if you're off, you can still straighten. So when you get this full split, you'll be able to do a lot of ice sculptures. You could stack it, do a logo. You can do kissing swans, kissing dolphins, or whatever. Two sculptures and put it displayed like this. I don't use the full 10 inches of the block to do dolphins and swans, because I like to have it more presentation. It's bigger. You can get 2 swans instead of 1. And the way I designed it, it's 2-dimensional. It's not 3. So it's up to you. This is how I do almost all my ice carvings. I don't use a full block to do any one specific piece. Okay, so this is how you do a full split.